And welcome to Ducks No Sports. This week, it's my fifth installment of my baseball previews as I preview the NL Central. Good division, has defending champs in it, so it should be an interesting year. We'll start with those defending champs, St. Louis Cardinals, as they lost a big player in the offseason by losing Albert Pujols to the Angels. But to me, the Cardinals, one of those organizations, sports like the Red Wings and the Steelers, solid organizations. When they lose players, they keep the train moving. And I think we'll be a solid team again this year because they still have a lot of good players. Like David Freese, last year in the playoffs, really made a name for himself to become that next great star in this league. Another guy, Matt Holliday, great all-around player. Very good player for the Rockies back in the day in a brief stint with the A's. Great player. I think will be a great player again for the St. Louis Cardinals. And when St. Louis comes down to pitching, and they got a lot of good ones, as they have, Wainwright, maybe one of the best in the league, and Chris Carpenter, another great veteran they have, and a rotation who not a great rotation by any measure, but a rotation that gets the job done. And I believe the St. Louis Cardinals still have the pieces in place to go back to the World Series. And moving to the Milwaukee Brewers, who this offseason lost a big name in Prince Fielder. Unlike the Cardinals, they are not a stable organization. And I believe this will hurt the team. Prince Fielder did a lot for the team. Home runs. He got on base, brought in players. This guy's just a solid player, and I believe this will hurt the team mightily because I don't know who on this roster is going to replace his production. And another big news the offseason with the Brewers, the Brian Braun story, where he got busted with steroids and then got clean, obviously cleaned it up. But interesting story because I think this guy's going to get bad press all year long. And we're going to see how mental tough this kid is because there's people going to be hounding him all year. And we're going to see, I don't think he did steroids, but I think a lot of people think he did. And we'll see how tough this guy really is in the offseason because they're going to be hounding him all year, and I think he's going to have a bad year. And, with losing Prince Fielder, they had to replace him, and they replaced him with, Ramirez from the Cubs and Gallus from the Braves. Two guys, old guys. I don't think it's going to do much. Sure, I think their careers are basically over. And I truly believe, the Brewers, with this bad press with Braun and losing Prince Fielder, I think it's going to be a long year for the Brew Crew. And moving to a team I really like, the Cincinnati Reds. Cincinnati obviously made a big splash by adding Latos from the Padres. Good pitcher. A horse. Eat up innings. A good guy. Top rotation type guy. And will make this rotation one of the better rotations in the Central. And when you talk about the Reds, you got to talk about Chapman. Of course, the kid from Cuba. Good player. Can throw heat faster than anybody. Bound right now in spring training for the fifth spot in the rotation. But I think this guy has to be the bullpen. This guy goes in for an inning. Maybe he's a setup guy to Ryan Madson. They also signed the offseason. Great pickup by them, by the way. But this guy, setup guy, blows the heat. This guy can throw faster than anybody I've ever seen before and harder than I've ever seen before. This guy's a talented guy. I don't think he'll have a long career in baseball. I think that arm is going to blow out eventually by throwing the heat as fast as he does, but I believe the Cincinnati Reds also with all the great young hitters. Joey Votto, rumors might get traded if things go sour this year. A good player. Jay Bruce, another great young player they have. Good, can hit the ball from anywhere. Brandon Phillips, maybe the best second baseman in the NL. Great player. And I believe the Cincinnati Reds are a top team in the NL, and I think they will contend for the NL Central this year. Moving to the bad part of the division, the Pittsburgh Pirates, who's been bad for years, ever since Barry Bonds left. Seems like it's been a curse on the team ever since he's left. It's been bad. They've been bad year after year. Just a bad team. They traded for AJ Burnett in the offseason. Then his first practice in spring training takes a ball off the eye. He's out. He's gonna be out for like 3 months, I think. So that doesn't start. They wanted this guy to come in and make an impact. they wanted to be like the top of the rotation type guy and be maybe their ace of that rotation. It's not going to happen now. So very interesting with that. You know, with other veterans, they brought in like Eric Bedard, who's also I think done. And you know they have some good players. I mean, like McCutcheon and Walker, good 2 young players, but you know it's just like there's nothing really here, and there's nothing makes me believe looking at this roster, looking at moves made in the offseason, that this will even be a better team than it was last year. And I think they're destined for another bad year, and I think they will probably have another losing year for the Pittsburgh Pirates. Okay, moving to the Chicago Cubs, who made a splash, but not as a player, but as a management, by bringing in Theo Epstein from the Boston Red Sox. Big fan of Epstein. You know, he was the architect for those World Series championship teams. Good player. He knows how to recruit players. Good player. He knows how to draft players. Very good GM. And I think they give him the resources can turn this team into a contender. Not this year. I mean, look at this roster. Besides, you know, top of the rotation with Dempster and Garrett Garza. Besides that, there's not much here. I mean, they're starting to get a little better by getting rid of some of their bad contracts, such as Zambrano is now gone. He's with the Marlins. But, you know, still a bad team. And they got to get rid of these contracts. This team is full of bad contracts. And I believe the Chicago Cubs are moving in the right direction, but will have a bad year. In 2012, will finish near the bottom of the Central. And finally, the Houston Astros. You know, you look at this roster. This might be one of the worst teams in the in Major League Baseball. I mean, it's been the last couple of years. I mean, this team they're going down south fast. I mean, they have a few good players like Carlos Lee, you know, a very good hitter. Could be a good player in this league if you give him the right tools, the right pieces around him. But there's nothing really around him. And Rodriguez, top rotation type guy, can eat up innings. You know, if you use these 2 pieces, you know, maybe to start the rebuild process, because this team has to move forward, so they have to rebuild. And they started a little bit by drafting well, but they need to be like the Tampa Bay Rays. They need to draft well. And I believe the Houston's got to have a bad year. They have to start the rebuilding process now for them to get better. And I don't see any team be good anytime in the future. And I believe Houston finishes last in the NL Central this year. But when it's all said and done, I love Cincinnati Reds to come out this year. You know, good Euclid, Votto, Phillips, Bruce, like I said. Good rotation with like Lottos, you know, Chapman in the bullpen. You know, Ryan Matson, they're just a good overall team. And I think the Cincinnati Reds win the division and are a dark horse for the World Series. Well, that's it for this preview. But my next preview will be the NL West. That'll be a good preview because good division there with a lot of upcoming teams. Well, until next time, I'm Aaron Duxbury saying, I'm Dux, and I know sports. Kind of.